In the heart of Edup, a village where the red earth clung to bare feet and the air always smelled of firewood smoke, there stood a market older than memory. The elders said that before the first chief of Edup wore the leopard skin cap, before iron bells ever rang in the shrine, Edup had already thrived. Every 4 days, the market woke at dawn like a giant rising from slumber. Women carried baskets of cassava, peppers, and palm oil on their heads, men drove goats and chickens in noisy flocks, children ran about with calabashes of water to sell for a single cowrie. It was a world of sound and scent, the clang of pesos, the laughter of traders, the sharp cries of bargaining. But when the last gong of the town crier sounded at dusk and the traders folded their mats, a different market stirred, one that did not welcome human eyes. The people of Edup whispered about it. They said that when the sun sank and the moon was thin, shadows gathered among the stalls. Not the shadows of trees or bodies, but shadows that walked alone. They were said to be the remnants of all who had died in the market, the woman who collapsed with baskets of kola nuts, the thief beaten and left for dead, the debtors who vanished without paying. Their whispers floated in the wind, asking for truth, for payment, for remembrance. Children were warned, do not linger after the market sleeps. Do not listen when it hums. But Olamide had always been a restless boy. 16 seasons old, lean as raffia, with eyes that burned with questions. His mother called him ear too quick, feet too restless. He helped her at the pepper store, but his heart belonged to wandering. He wanted to know what others feared to ask. That harmattan evening, as the day drew to its copper end, Olamide should have been carrying his mother's baskets home. The dust in the air made his lips crack, and the traders were already hurrying away, balancing bundles on their heads, tying restless goats, calling children. The gong of the crier rang twice, the warning that the market was closing. But Olamide lingered. His eyes followed the lines of empty stalls, where mats were folded and yam tubers no longer sat. He felt something in the silence between the noises, a low hum, like a drum hidden beneath the earth. His chest tightened. He walked past the fish seller's corner, where the scent of smoked tilapia still clung to the air. Past the yam stalls, now bare as ribs. Past the row of clay pots, their mouths open as though frozen in mid-speech. His feet stopped before he could ask them to. That was when he saw them. The sun had dropped low, but it was not yet dark. And yet, shadows stretched unnaturally long, sliding between stalls. At first he thought they were the arms of trees, until he saw that they moved against the light, bending and twisting where no object stood. 3 shadows, tall and thin, bent like reeds in the wind. They slipped across the dust, crossing one another, stretching into corners. They had no faces, yet Olamide felt them watching him. His breath caught in his throat. He wanted to run, but his feet would not obey. The hum grew louder, no, not hum, a chant, deep and unearthly, like many voices speaking in one. Then one shadow turned, its faceless head tilting as though curious. The air grew cold. Olamide's knees trembled. He opened his mouth to scream, but no sound came. The voice entered him. Not through ears, but through bone, through marrow. Why do you watch the shadows, boy? The words wrapped him in smoke. He staggered backward, clutching his chest. His legs finally obeyed. He turned and ran past the yam stalls, past the clay pots, past the last rows of huts until the sounds of the market faded. When he burst into his mother's hut, breathless, his wrapper torn at the knee, she frowned. Olamide, what is it? Where are the baskets? He only shook his head, unable to form words. That night, he lay wide-eyed on his raffia mat. The moonlight slipped through the cracks in the wall. He shut his eyes, but each time, he saw the faceless shadow turning to him. He could still hear the voice, "Why do you watch the shadows, boy?" The market had seen him. And it would not forget. Olamide stayed away from Ik-Edoup as though it were fire. His mother scolded him for his laziness, but she did not know the weight pressing on his chest. He moved about the compound distracted, sweeping the ground without focus, forgetting to fetch water on time, spilling palm oil while trying to help. But no matter how far he tried to push the market from his thoughts, the market pushed back. At night, he could not sleep. The moment his eyes closed, he found himself back among the stalls. Always, they were empty, no traders, no baskets, no goods. Only the folded mats and the clay pots, stretching row after row, longer than the eye could see. And always, the shadows waited. They rose slowly, sliding out from beneath stalls, stretching across the red dust like spilled ink. Taller than palm trees, darker than night, their faceless heads turned toward him. And the chant began. A deep, trembling sound, like drums played in a cave. Speak. Speak your truth. Olamide would run, weaving between the rows, his bare feet kicking up dust, but no matter how far he ran, the stalls continued endlessly. And the shadows followed, whispering through the air, pulling at his ankles, tugging at his breath. He woke each time with a scream, his body drenched in sweat, his heart pounding like a talking drum. By the fourth night, he knew he could not endure it. At dawn, he went to his grandmother. She sat by the hearth, feeding sticks into the fire. Her face glowed in the firelight, her wrinkles deep, her eyes sharp as a hawk's. Before he even spoke, she looked at him and said, "Your eyes are red. The market has been walking in your sleep." Olamide dropped to his knees. His voice shook as he told her everything, the humming, the shadows that turned toward him, the voice that lived inside his bones. She listened without interruption, nodding as though she had been waiting. When he finished, she stirred the pot slowly, then spoke. "Listen well, child. The market is not only wood and zinc, not only pepper and yam. It is a living thing. It eats more than food. It eats secrets. It eats lies. The shadows you saw, they are the market's memory. They keep the names of thieves, the voices of the cheated, the promises broken under sun. You stayed too long, and now the keepers of memory have marked you." Olamide's lips trembled. "But I have done nothing. Why do they chase me?" His grandmother fixed him with her sharp eyes. "Have you truly done nothing?" The words cut deep. He had done something. For weeks, he had hidden it, telling himself it was small. He had stolen coins from his mother's calabash, buying a carved bead and a brass whistle from the market. It was not hunger that drove him, only desire, only curiosity. And he had told no one. Shame rose like fire in his throat, but he swallowed it down. He lowered his eyes, whispering, "What will happen if I do not speak?" His grandmother blew on the fire, sending sparks into the air. Her voice was calm, but heavy. "The market does not forgive silence. If you bury your secret, the shadows will bury you. They will not stop until you are theirs." That night, the shadows returned stronger than ever. He dreamt of walking through the market while the moon shone. The shadows circled him like hunters, their whispers louder, harsher, pressing against his chest. "Speak, boy. Speak, or be taken." One shadow's hand touched his shoulder, cold as clay, heavy as stone. Olamide screamed, falling to his knees. The chant swelled, truth, truth, truth. He woke gasping, his body shaking. Dawn was only a faint light behind the huts. He could not hide any longer. When his mother woke to sort her peppers, Olamide knelt before her, trembling. His voice cracked as he confessed everything, how he had stolen from her calabash, how he had wasted the coins on trinkets, how he had hidden it all out of shame. Silence fell. The peppers lay scattered like small flames between them. His mother's eyes, tired and stern, rested on him. For a long while she said nothing, and Olamide's heart beat like a trapped bird. At last, she sighed. Olamide, my son. You think Edoup is blind. You think Edoup does not watch. It is not the theft that angers, it is the silence. The market has no patience for secrets. You are fortunate it asked for words and not blood. Her hand touched his shoulder, warm where the shadows had been cold. Return to the market with clean hands. Then it will release you. That evening, he carried baskets to the market again. His steps were slow, his heart cautious. The traders laughed and shouted, goats bleated, children ran with calabashes, but Olamide felt another presence, deeper than noise. The shadows still lingered under the stalls, calling along the ground. Yet they did not rise. They did not follow. They only watched, still as hunters after a meal. He walked through the rows, his back straight, his hands empty of lies. For the first time in days, the weight lifted from his chest. The market had released him. From then on, Olamide never lingered after the gong. When the last trader packed her baskets and the crier's drum sounded, he left quickly, without looking back. And when children asked him why they must leave before nightfall, he told them the truth his grandmother had told him. Because the market has eyes, and shadows that remember. And so the story of Olamide joined the whispers of Edoup, a lesson carried with the dust of the market, a warning that every store, every mat, every clay pot keeps watch, not only over goods, but over the secrets of the living.